Hello, happy Wednesday.
Hello.
I should give, oh, we're not even at time. I was going to say, I'll give a few more minutes, but like I'm super early today. So I'll definitely give a few more minutes for everyone else to actually arrive. Right, hey everyone. So welcome, 16th of February, and this is our Kubernetes demo. So is there anything that anyone would like to demo today? No? Okay. So Rehab, you have the discussion item.
Hi, thanks for having me in the meeting today.
Thanks for joining us.
My questions are all about the preparation for the 1.22 upgrade. I had some feedback from Graham asynchronously throughout the past 2 weeks, and I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page regarding the scope of that epic and what's to be expected. So thanks, Graham, for all the support. So if you look at Epic 688, which I linked in the agenda, you can see there's 3 child issues. I think that's the correct epic, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so there's 3 child issues to that epic, showing 3 repositories. And my understanding is that we're going to be looking at these repositories mainly for this epic. And if we do have the capacity after that, we're going to look at other repositories. Is this correct? Is this wrong? Are there any other repos that we will need to look at as part of this change?
None that I know of. I think the one thing that, excuse me, the item that's going to make this a little bit more difficult is that we do import some Helm charts from elsewhere. So the Prometheus operator is a good example of this. And there may be deprecations that we may need to force us to upgrade that particular Helm chart. So looking at the results of the objects that we deploy and where those are coming from is probably going to take the most time. I think for any item where we construct the chart ourselves, such as the GitLab Helm chart, those will be easy to look at. And then for some of these items, both the Tonka and the Helm files repos, we do have like a, what do you call it? Like a bare bones Helm chart that we just kind of fill in the blanks and we make it deploy objects. So there may be something that is easier to do that would be inside of that own repository itself. But these are the correct 3 repos that you would want to look at. There's no more that I know of.
Okay, so the other question I have is, so if you mentioned that we're importing other Helm charts from outside of these repos, so is that what Graham referred to as getting the manifests for these repos? I see. Okay.
Yeah, like a Helm template, if you're using the GitLab Helm files, for example, will provide you the necessary output of what we intend to deploy, for example. So they're relatively easy to look at.
Okay, thank you for that. And another question, between these 3 repos, which one do you think is going to take most of the time? If that's even like a valid question. I'm just like curious to sort of rank them the most difficult, the easiest, and the medium.
What's the kind of, I guess, like, what's the goal of knowing that?
Well, the initial goal, I sort of, is like I wanted to take the most difficult one, so I'd free the easier one for other people. But I'm just thinking maybe other people would prefer something easier, depending on what they want to, like the level of effort maybe, or maybe their availability, like depending on everyone's availability, they would take the easier or the hardest one. So that was the main goal, like wanting to distribute these issues between team members and sort of assigning weights to them, so that we know like what's the time we're going to spend on each.
It could be worth having a look at them more from a like which ones absolutely have to have happened, like a kind of criticality. Like I would probably do tanker last, just in case we get stuck on the other things.
I see. Yeah, probably. I do agree that tanker is not the highest priority there. Okay. Yeah, I think that answers my question. Is there any advice you want to give me for this upgrade? Initially, we thought that we're going to use that Epic for the quarters work, but now after like seeing the amount of work that we'll be doing, I don't think it's going to take a full quarter's work at all. I think that we're going to have some time after that, and we're thinking of maybe we'll be doing some other things related to this, maybe, or maybe not. But it's not that big of a task, is it? Right? It's not like a quarter's work.
Probably not. No, probably not. Not unless there's some unknown sort of disruptive pieces we need to fix. But no, hopefully it's not a big task.
What I'm wondering is, I mean, this is something which will reoccur, right? Every time we have a upgrade of our Kubernetes clusters, we need to do the same checking again, what is deprecated. And so if this is a lot of manual work, then that's, I don't know, maybe we can find ways how to do this better. I'm not really an expert in this, but I saw that Graham a few months ago used some tooling which is automatically checking for deprecated Kubernetes versions. Not sure if we could maybe use this again or automate somewhere around this, because this will come up again, right? Every time we need to upgrade to a new minor version.
Well, this one's interesting because it's disruptive. So they're not all disruptive, but yeah, it could be worth reviewing. Let's take that as a separate discussion, because I think at that point it's a slightly different project, and it might be worth us reviewing at that point, like what other projects are we comparing it against?
Google has also been very good at sending us notifications ahead of time saying, hey, you're using deprecated APIs. Here's how to figure that out. Here's the projects that are impacted, etc. So I'm not saying we rely on those emails. I'm just saying that we at least do get a heads up that stuff like this is occurring.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought we did get an email on the ops account the other week.
We did.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure one of these epics that Rahab linked to actually contains, yeah, epic 675 contains the actual email, which probably is what started the epic.
Yeah, so this was an issue, and I promoted it into an epic, so it closed the issue automatically. And the email is in the body of that issue as well, the original email. I should also update the acceptance criteria, because initially we had some understanding, now we have a different understanding. So that's not like 100% up to date just yet. I need to update that.
Is there other kind of more unknowns that you want to go through? We have the APAC demo tomorrow, where Graham will be online as well if you want to like pair on any bits.
Yeah, I think I will attend that meeting, and maybe I have some more questions for Graham.
Okay, and feel free, you don't have, like, if you want to do async as well, like, feel free to add them into your agenda. And Graham usually adds comments, so he may come back.
Cool. Just to say about addressing the automation, I actually did think about this in the beginning, but I think it will be a separate project. I mean, we're still going to discuss with the managers what we're going to do after closing this epic. So maybe I will propose that we attempt to automate this now that we know what's the effort. But like, no promise, we still don't know the priorities.
And plus, it's going to vary between different upgrades. You know, different APIs are going to get deprecated. That might change the style or the work that we have to do in order to accomplish or remove that deprecation. So,
yeah, I mean, in a different world, I thought like we could create some sort of an AI that would go through the change log and like scan the deprecated APIs and then determine through our repos and the manifest. Just do this automatically. I actually didn't think about that. I thought more about like a pipeline, maybe that would attempt to list the resources that are deprecated, at least that one step. And then we can do the rest manually, which is upgrading these. How about if we, that's just one random question. So if we, if there's a way to see what resources are being changed by Kubernetes when they're actually applied, because I know that Kubernetes would automatically readjust the version if it's deprecated, right?
the Helm chart has, depending on the author and depending on how flexible a Helm chart is, what they'll attempt to do is modify the version that is being deployed of a specific object depending on the version of Kubernetes that you are running. So this caused a blocker for auto deploys one time because the Nginx ingress controller API version changed between clusters and in between auto deploys. That's going to be one of those ones that's a little bit challenging, but it's worth having the ability to detect, excuse me, the ability to detect that ahead of time. And that's also going to require a little bit of work inside of auto deploy to help try to prevent something like that from occurring, which we've got an open issue to figure out how to address that. But it's not changing anything inside of Kubernetes. It's more like the Helm chart is configured to accept different versions of Kubernetes, and it deploys specific things depending on which version we're running.
Okay, cool. I'll keep that in mind for the next time we think about it. Thank you. Appreciate all the input.
Oh, thanks for coming along and asking. So I'm wondering, how is the rate limiting Redis going?
It's a little sluggish. We're at a step now. The last thing I know that's been accomplished is Igor has completed the 6.2 upgrade on all of our virtual machine infrastructure. I am currently trying to figure out how to make a configuration change that doesn't break these clusters. This is a configuration change that we need to have in place prior to us adding Kubernetes into the hybrid deployment. This specifically being the ability for Redis to leverage host names versus the IP addresses. It's recommended by Redis that we do not mix configurations. The Helm chart forces you to use host names, so we're going to try to switch over virtual machines to do the same. I'm running into a problem in my test environment where, for some reason, Sentinel loses its mind, and I'm trying to figure out why and when that's breaking, so I don't have that happen in production. So that part's still a work in progress. Igor has started working on the monitoring side of things. I don't know how far he's made it, but we want to make sure that we are able to monitor both our virtual machines and the Kubernetes deployment at the same time, and as we do that transition. And then our Epic still has a whole slew of other issues that we have to work through. I was told that Matt Smiley will be joining us shortly, so hopefully we could get more help in that regards.
Henry will
to help
also be
slim
joining
down.
you shortly.
Fantastic. So hopefully we'll be able to start to knock out some of the other issues that it's just been a little difficult to pick up on.
Do you have someone helping you with the host names?
Not at the moment. I've spread some information to Igor yesterday, and I just didn't get enough time to work on this particular project yesterday. So I'm hoping to spend more effort and time on this today and go from there. And at that point, I'll try to figure out who I need to work with. Maybe tomorrow I'll try to pair it with someone if necessary, if I haven't made any progress.
Yes, Garbeck, if you have some time tomorrow, maybe we can sync up, because right now I'm still reading and going through the epics and work that we did so far, and maybe we can sync up tomorrow and you can get me up to speed where we are and so on.
All right, I'll go ahead and spin up a one-on-one between you and I.
Cool, thanks.
And if you do, like I do think, yeah, I think Matt is close, if not sort of maybe, yeah, I think close to being able to join. So if there's something on the BMs that having him pair up with you will help, then yeah, shout and see if he's around.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, what are the kind of steps, the broad steps we have before we think we might have a kind of a testing setup on pre?
So it's finishing up the reconfiguration that I'm currently working on. And then it's building the procedure that we want to occur to start the deploy that creates a hybrid deployment of a Redis configuration. The second one should be a little easier. We just need to get to the state inside of our testing that enables us to do that, which is currently what I'm working on. So I don't know when we'll have a good timeline for that, though.
Okay. Would it be helpful to have someone from quality help us with once it's on pre? So quality volunteered for, like, John is available to help if we need any extra kind of like test guidance for this.
So as far as QA goes, if the Redis cluster goes offline, QA blows up and screams and tells us, hey, something is definitely wrong. So I think it's going to be more along the lines of, let's make sure that we are ready to go. And then, test this in pre-prod as much as possible, rolling forward and backward and making sure QA is happy in both directions. And also just making sure that we don't miss anything and cause an accidental outage. I don't know how useful QA will be on that front. Because we know how to execute QA as necessary. So, that'll be probably part of the procedure as we move forward with this.
Okay. Well, let's say you can always reach out to John if you do like need any guidance or want any extra hands to test stuff.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Awesome. Are there any other questions or discussion items people want to raise? Okay, so tomorrow we have the APAC EMEA demo is at 8 AM UTC. One thing Graham mentioned he's going to demo is he's been playing around with a POC for maybe how k8s as a first service could go into a dedicated node pool, or get us a bit closer to being able to kind of separate things up inside the clusters. So he's going to try and demo that tomorrow. And we may be talking about some of the other work he's been doing to remove kind of some of the chef dependencies from the k8s workloads as well. Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.